Drew Brees is coming back to the Saints, so that's going to start some of our domino effect of. So Brett means Bridgewater not with the Saints. Taysom Hill may be a possibility for some teams.
Who's needing quarterbacks?
Everybody. We've looked at Zach this a couple of times. Anywhere from 3 to 19 teams, we believe, could possibly make a quarterback move this year.
Well, here's the team.
We think definite 5 to 10, pretty much. We think anyone else, we think 10 to 19 could possibly make decisions. We know some of them aren't, but the possibilities are just crazy. Like if Dallas, would they go Brady? That's a possibility. Or the Redskins going to do? That's a possibility. So those are the ones like that we count are possible but not definite. So we were saying anywhere from 3 to 19. Now we take off the Saints. We're down to 18 possible moves in the football, and we're just kind of excited about it to see what's going on. I just want to see. I want these teams to start making the decisions.
When those quarterbacks land, that's going to change the landscape up. I mean, let's just say hypothetically, and I don't think it'll happen, but if Brady went to Oakland Raiders, I mean, they said they were trying to offer him 2 years, 30. Was it 2 years, 30 million?
2 years, 30 million. Yeah,
well,
$60 million.
60,
oh, yeah. 2 years, 60 million. So I see which. Now, if that would happen, I mean, that's going to throw him in the AFC West with the Raiders team that could have had a better record than they had. They played decent. They're going to be better than the Chargers. They're going to be better than the Chargers. They're going to be better than the Broncos unless the Broncos pick up a solid quarterback.
Now, Broncos had a top 10 defense this year. They were 9th, I think.
And is Kansas City going to regress?
No.
I'm going to say yes. And the only reason I'm going to say that is because of historically, when you win the Super Bowl, you don't make the playoffs unless you're the Patriots next year.
Well, then that historically has been broken because like you can't just pick and choose just because it's the Patriots. It's been done.
We'll see if the
Patriots lost it the year before and went out and won it the next year. So I mean,
you could have somebody new in Tennessee, Jacksonville, Indianapolis.
There's no team in the AFC West, even if Tom Brady goes there, that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Does Joe Burrow force his way out of Cincinnati? Do they even want him? Do they want Tua? Do the Patriots? That's the key, I think, to all this is Brady 1. What do the Patriots do 2? And then everybody else. That's when it's going to start getting wild.
If Cincinnati plays it smart, and he don't want to go there, and they want to bring Tua in, what is Miami going to give up to go up to that? You could get Tua plus. I mean, let's just say this is the template. Do you remember Michael Vick coming out? Mm-hmm. And the Chargers got Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson for giving up Michael Vick.
Right.
And at the time, people was like, "You're crazy." LaDainian Tomlinson is one of the best NFL running backs ever. And then if they would have kept Brees, he's one of the top quarterbacks ever.
The Chargers have had Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers
in this 1 year apart,
and
right?
They never made the Super Bowl.
It's sad. And Phillip Rivers I think he's an excellent quarterback. So I wouldn't have a problem with them trading out of that pick if he don't want to go there. Tua's not going to be able to say, "I'm not coming," because he's hurt.
Right now, it's got CBS Sports where the Dolphins trade up to 2.
Yeah, they have to.
And the Redskins moving back to 5.
That won't happen. Washington's set up for
Chase
Young, and you want to know one of the reasons why? There's a lot of the reason why he's going to end up in Washington is because Dan Snyder loves him. Mm-hmm. And whatever Dan Snyder loves, half the time it happens because he's the owner. Now, I know it'll be different. Ron Rivera will probably have his say, but really, he's the best. He's still graded on everybody's big board, the best player in the draft. And Washington at this point could use a great player, the best player in the draft. The reason why
what do you think about moving back for Simmons? That's what you guys here.
No, I don't have that as a good move.
I think if they go after the pass rusher because you want to get pressure on Dak, you want to get pressure on walk it to me, Wentz. Carson.
Bringing in Jack Del Rio as your defensive coordinator and him switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3 screams he wants another edge rusher on the other side of Montez Sweat. So why not get somebody that they have all pro written all over him? He's basically, it's following the same idea that the 49ers did. The 49ers draft Nick Bosa the year prior. They actually get the quarterback to come back off injury and Jimmy Garoppolo, and they've got the coach right. What happens? They make a Super Bowl run. Literally back-to-back happened the year after they drafted Nick Bosa. If you follow that, we've got great defensive pieces. We just need an extra edge rusher to get to the quarterback. Defensive tackle, we got Jonathan Allen, Landon Collins at the safety position, Montez Sweat on one side. If we move off of Ryan Kerrigan, so what? I think Chase Young will be better than Ryan Kerrigan. But there's truth to Miami probably wanting to move up, because now the speculation is, and a lot of rumor is going around, that if the Detroit Lions decide to move off Matt Stafford, them sitting there at 3, it's a free shot for Tua. And then Miami, who they thought was going to get Tua, they're not going to have the option to even get him. So there's going to be a bidding war for that 2 and 3 spot. The reason why I don't think Washington would trade so far back as 5 is because then you're letting in-division rival the New York Giants have an opportunity to snag Chase Young, and they just don't want to do that at all. They don't want him chasing down Dwayne Haskins at all, especially with us not having the Trent Williams situation figured out on the offensive line.
Well, I was trying to see draft order right now. This is mock. I mean, this is like if somebody trades. I was trying to see actual draft order.
Yeah, this is the draft. Well, draft order: 1, Cincinnati; 2, Washington; 3, Detroit; 4, New York; 5.
New York Jets or Giants?
The Giants.
Okay.
Giants. 5 are the Dolphins, and 6 are the Chargers, and 7
is Panthers.
Are the Panthers. Those are the ones that I can list off the top of my head right now.
Like I said, Chase Young is your guy in there. I wouldn't have a problem if we're talking about Washington. Them definitely making sure they get him. Because you want somebody that can get to the passer in today's NFL. It's a must. You got Joe Burrow that's coming off. I liked him last year. I just wonder if he was that good because of his offensive coordinator, or if he was that good talent-wise. We'll have to wait and see. He only had 1 year productivity because at Ohio State, it's quarterback controversy. 2 was hurt.
See, this is what I've heard this the whole time on why people would take Tua over Joe Burrow, and because you don't know if it was just the 1 year with Joe Burrow or if it was, just Tua's been that great. Tua has not played a full college season the whole time he's been there because he's too injury prone. Yeah. That's the biggest red flag to me.
He's not that big. If you look at him, 6'1", 218, that's not a big guy.
He's small. Joe Burrow, okay, so it's okay. So Joe Burrow,
6'3", 230.
How big is Russell Wilson?
No, he's
5'11".
No, he's at least 6'.
He's 230 though.
He's thick. Here's the thing though too. And with Joe Burrow, people say, "Oh, well, you couldn't beat out your quarterbacks at Ohio State." You cannot tell me that it's easy to beat out. It's not just easy to beat out quarterbacks at Ohio State because they get the top recruit every year, 5-star prospects every year. So he's going against other 5-star prospects. Do I think Joe Brady helped him in his senior season at LSU? Yeah, because I think anybody coming from the NFL to the college game will make any quarterback look better. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that he has to make the throws, he has to have the mobility in the pocket and be able to see and read the coverages. If anything, that just means Joe Burrow is more prepared to play at the next level than Tua is. Tua did not have an NFL an offensive coordinator, essentially, because that's what he is right now with the Carolina Panthers, and he was an offensive assistant underneath Sean Payton at the Saints. Tua hasn't had that in his ear. He hasn't had that on the sidelines at practice teaching him. Tua has been surrounded by 5-star recruits everywhere he's been, the whole time he's been at Alabama. LSU can bring in 5-star recruits, but the best wide receiver that he had at LSU this past season when he got recruited there was 2 stars when he first came to LSU, and he worked his way there. Joe Burrow has got the makeup, he's got the arm, he's got the smarts, and he's got really the size that you want. That's what a lot. If you're asking me, you're a 6-foot quarterback, and I'm not saying 6-foot quarterbacks can't play, but he's had lower extremity injuries. Back-to-back seasons, he's had a tightening up surgery on both ankles, and then he had his hip taken out. I'm not sold on. Tua might be able to throw a great ball, but if he can't stay on the field, what good is he doing me?
And they're also saying here too, we're changing up a little bit too with the draft, I was just reading on there that the Panthers are probably going to lose James Bradberry in free agency, and it's looking like the Redskins are going to go after James Bradberry.
We're going for Bradberry. We're going for Trey Boston as well, and we're looking at bringing back Rashad Breeland from the Chiefs.
And if it kind of hurts
because we've cut ties with Josh Norman too.
It hurts me that hey, we're going to lose Bradberry, which is a good draft pick for us to turn around and pick a cornerback in the draft. I will lose my mind. If that happens.
No, every mock draft every mock draft I see has the Carolina Panthers getting the defensive tackle Brown out of Auburn.
There's a Cuda, and that's what I'm saying about fell out. Now they were saying Justin Herbert or Bear. I don't know how you say that.
Oh no, I would. Now I like this better than your Brown pick. Okuda, they have is rated the best cornerback coming out in the last 10 years.
Does a rookie coach want to pick a corner?
I would lose my mind.
I don't think a rookie coach.
Yeah, but what else would you want at this point? You're losing your whole secondary basically to free agency because that's the whole reason why we're even making moves for your free agents because we don't have a secondary either. Your defense was second or third worst in the NFL last year, so you gotta fit need. You draft defensive linemen or linebackers every year. Why not take a defensive back?
Teams might not even be the same teams once we get to draft day because
of the free agents.
I mean, what? Yeah, well, think about it. What if, Cincinnati gets an offer for? What if Panthers offer Cam and a package,
for the number one pick?
Burrow says he don't want to play there, and they
doesn't want to play for the Bengals, and they move up.
Right,
well, that's ideal.
There's a lot of teams that might want to move up to Cincinnati, not just Carolina. So Carolina's choice is Zach. Let's say they keep Cam, then who should they draft there? Best defender. I mean, you couldn't stop the run last year. 31st in run defense last year.
And I don't know if there are any up there. We got an offensive line problem that's massive. But I just don't know if there's any offensive lines worthy to be picked. I mean, if you can pick up some extra stuff, we need more than just one player. There's offensive lineman. Can you get up to get him? If you move up, though, you got to get a quarterback. You don't move up to get offensive lineman, I don't think. So move down.
They've got Judy at wide receiver, Brown at linebacker, Willis
you
at
can
line.
Move back. You could actually take him if is he a left tackle?
Andrew Thomas, offensive line.
Thomas is a left tackle. He played left tackle at Georgia.
So you got two good left tackles picking in the range that we are. We need offensive line help. I mean, our defense was horrible. Was that scheme? Because we had players.
Right.
We had players.
Did you get to talk with us about Jameis? We didn't ever bring that up in here, I don't think.
When we got his eyes fixed?
Yeah. So a few weeks before,
I was in here 2 weeks before,
Hunter brought up that he couldn't see, and we laughed.
I was in that conversation where you pulled it up on here.
Laughed at him and said probably not with the way he's squinting like that. And
he can't.
I remember talking about it.
He got him fixed.
He did.
I know he can. I know he can now. He can see now.
So now what does Tampa do? They're talking, Hunter, I was talking to Zach before, they're talking transition tag, which means they can't, that they can match other teams, but basically they wouldn't even get a draft pick if they let him go. So that's what they're actually discussing right now. And I thought that was kind of weird in that sense. Do they give him a chance to come in? Do they even make him work out with his new eyes or anything like that? Or is this just
you have to let him work out.
That's what
you have to let him work out, and you have to be able to see what he has with these new eyes. Because what you have to take this into consideration. Blind, he threw 30 touchdowns, and was blind.
Yeah.
Blind, he threw 30 touchdowns and led the league in passing yards.
But you think about it. Let's put it in context of a baseball player.
If he can just see past the linebacker, half of those picks are gone.
I bet got in at a great time. We're talking Jameis Winston.
You put it in context of baseball. If somebody can't see to hit the baseball and then you get their eyes fixed, how much better at the plate are they going to be? He has the potential to do really well.
Listen, I had LASIK in college, and we used to go hit baseball, whatever, for fun or whatever on the side, and we'd play home run derby stuff. It's totally different, just insanely different. And I'd have to wear Zach. I'd wear glasses or contacts when I played baseball, or I couldn't even see the ball hardly.
Right.
So I can only imagine. It has to help with him seeing maybe the second defender.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like maybe then you see the first one, but the other guy, those other guys, you just sit right there. Those other guys have to blend in with, in the background. If you have fuzzy eyesight, those second guys have to blend in a lot. And you're right, Hunter. It may be Hey, that may be the reason he's throwing all the picks.
It's the thing.
Good possibility.
He got his eyes fixed, and instead of you having to go out and pray you can find someone as good or equal to Jameis, now you've got the opportunity to have Jameis, but the best possible version Jameis can be, which was worthy of the number 1 pick that he was taken by them.
All right, so here's it's Dan Graziano. Possibility in the story is Bucks using a transition tag on Winston, which would be about $2.5 million cheaper, and allow both sides to find out how much outside interest there is. The risk of the transition, which has never been used on a quarterback, is that another team makes an offer and you lose him without draft pick compensation if you don't match. But A, you do get the right to match, and B, the Bucks may value Winston more than the other teams do. Worst case scenario for Bucks is another team offers Winston much, much more than they're willing to offer him, and that would happen prior to free agency and allow them to make other plans in free agency.
Now the question
Otherwise, you can keep him and work on a new deal, knowing what his market was and wasn't.
Now, if somebody offers and they match, does he have to take the Bucks deal?
That's not what it's looking like, is it? It didn't say that, did it?
That could be very dangerous for the Bucks if that's the case. If they can match and he has to go there, then that's a pretty good, backup plan.
I'm guessing it says they have a chance to match, so I'm guessing that he would have to stay.
It sounds like
that's
the
what
same.
that's the
It
point
sounds
of the
like
tag,
the same
right?
deal. Yeah, the tag. It means, look, just because another team's offering you $25 million, if we match the $25 million, we're basically ahead of them on it because you're our player right now. Our tag. We'll just use the word. Our tag is on you. So no matter what, if we match that, you're ours. It's the same deal when Charlotte offered Gordon Hayward all that
what
money,
I was thinking in my mind.
And the Utah Jazz matched it.
That was the exact scenario.
So they matched that, and he ended up having to stay. He just stayed with the Jazz. That's just how that works. So, to me, that's a good move to make by the Bucks, because at the same time you're doing homework to see what he's worth. Because if you do keep him for one more year, essentially it's like a franchise tag, so you only still have to keep him for 1 year like a franchise tag would say. You see what the market wanted for him now. Could you imagine if he goes out and throws for 40 touchdowns the next year and maybe only 20 picks?
If he starts eating more W's, the GMs will come and call him.
That's what I'm saying.
Then they're really going to be into a mess on how much money do we throw at him?
Because that's what I'm saying. If he goes out there, goes 40, and let's say maybe 15 interceptions at the max, you got 40 touchdowns out of him. That's gonna translate to wins because of your roster as a whole. Because the team is good.
It's going to be
roster's
insane.
Good. Okay.
If he does that, his market value is going to be insane. It's going to be hilarious.
His market value will. Well, that's all the people will say is all he had to do was fix his eyes.
That's exactly what they're going to say.
All he had to do was fix his eyes. It didn't even cost the team anything. He paid for that. He paid just to get his eyes fixed.
Now, personally, I think he's got mechanic problems.
I just think he waits too long to throw it.
That's right.
I don't know if that's mechanic or if that's...
Well, you look at his long release.
That's true, too. He drops his elbow long release. DB's like...
Yes,
he just threw for 30 touchdowns and led the league in passing.
That's true.
While being blind. I'm not a Jameis Winston fan, and I'm not making the case for him. I'm just saying, I want you to just take that into consideration. Like, really think about that. He just had LASIK to correct his vision, and in the last season, he not only led the league in interceptions, but he led it in touchdowns and yards thrown.
I guess we're getting to see what Mr. Magoo would do at the quarterback position.
Does Hunter know who Mr. Magoo is?
Probably
I do know who Mr. Magoo is.
I don't know about that.
He's the old man that could never wore glasses and just would always run into things and get himself into a bunch of trouble.
I got you, man. I got you. So, at the draft, Trayvon Diggs, is that Stefan's cousin or brother or anything?
I don't know.
It says Diggs was
and they're
Minnesota.
going to the Vikings.
That's
awesome.
the only reason I said it.
But I'll say this. Did you see that about Stefon Diggs?
Is he not wanting
on
to be
his
the Vikings?
Instagrams? He deleted everything that he had on there that was Vikings related.
That's a weird world we live in.
And you know, it's weird how people read into that and will say, "Oh, that must mean something."
Mm-hmm.
Well, it kind of does for guys like, that have grown up in the social media age. So I would believe it. He had a bunch of animosity with the team this last year, trying to hope they would just trade him when Kirk Cousins wasn't getting him the ball.
Exactly.
Then he
weird
started
having
getting the
these
ball.
grown men NFL players sharing their feelings on the
Oh,
internet.
my Lord. It's like
I'm gonna stop following you, Hunter.
Okay.
just hurt my feelings.
Zach,
Snowflake.
Drew Brees will be the 5th quarterback
Mhm.
to play for 20th season, along with Brady and Earl Morrall. Can you name the other two?
He's going to be for 25th year to do what?
The 5th quarterback to play 20 years.
Okay.
Drew Brees, Earl Morrall. I'll never say his name right. Morrall, and Tom Brady. Who are the other two?
Are they like ancient old?
No.
Okay. Like George Blanda or something.
One of the guys is ancient, but he's not. It's
20 years?
Yeah, they two other quarterbacks play 20 years. It's been in our lifetime. One of them might even be the
Dan
all-time.
Marino? No, he was about 16.
Mm-mm.
83 to 2000 or 2001.
Brett Favre
Vinny Testaverde?
and Vinny Testaverde.
I got one. I wouldn't have got Favre.
Brett Favre played 20 years.
So Favre was what? 90 to what?
I guess 2010.
I guess he was, yeah, because he was with the Vikings and Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Was Jets after the Vikings or before?
I do not know.
I did see him play in the Vikings at Carolina. We went to that game.
The Vinny Testaverde.
Here, it was a great game. We beat them.
That's who it probably was. And y'all always draw the backup quarterbacks. He went, Tampa, Cleveland, Baltimore, Jets, Dallas, Jets, New England, Carolina. He was 2-4 in Carolina.
Yeah, he was horrible.
90 and 123 overall, Zach. He was 43 games under 500. And we're arguing about whether Eli's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
20 years.
Hey, people kept giving him jobs. How about the Panthers? Gave him his last one at 44 years old. The Panthers let him start 6 games.
We had Jake got hurt. I remember.
Is that what that was?
Mm-hmm.
When did y'all draft Cam? 2011? Something like that?
He's been here the same amount of years that Rivera has, right?
But this will be Cam's 9th year.
So 1 year before Rivera got here?
Yeah, I think Rivera picked him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Well, with that said, Greg Olsen says goodbye to the Panthers and will be signing with the Seahawks.
Great move for the Seahawks.
I think great move for both
sides,
of them.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Does that put them over the edge there? I mean, the West is so
Seattle.
good. That helps out Russell Wilson a lot.
That sure does against the San Francisco defense.
If he's on the field.
He could open up the...
Greg Olsen will be playing essentially the same exact way San Francisco plays Kittle and the same way that they play Kelsey in Kansas City. Because I'm not saying he can't do it, but he's not a block. You don't use him really in a bunch of run and blocking schemes. He's really known for being a receiving tight end, and that's what a lot of them have to be now. And I think that really comes in good for what they really need to start doing in Seattle, which is stop being so run oriented and throwing the ball more. And they have a tight end that they like in Disley. He got hurt. They tried to get him to come back towards the end of the year, and he just wasn't able to do that and be as effective as he was early. And he's a little bit more of a run blocker, but he can catch the ball as well. He was known for being a run blocker in college. So I think this adds an extra depth to them. I still think the one thing Seattle needs to address going into the draft is I think they're fine at the running back position, just none of them could stay friggin' healthy this past season. Do they got to
start padding their defense
I don't know if it's padding the defense. To me, it's another wide receiver outside of just DK Metcalf. And I love DK Metcalf. I think what he does great, which is, go deep, go and take the top off the defense. But Tyler Lockett really as your 2 receiver, and especially with how deep this receiving class is in this draft, I don't see why you don't go receiver. If not in the first round, maybe you do have a need you think you need to fill on this in the secondary. Maybe a safety is what they want to try and get since they've lost Cam Chancellor to retirement and Earl Thomas. So I don't know. There's a lot around what they could do in Seattle, but I think one, this does help their opportunity of winning the NFC West, and two, this to me means I would go another offensive weapon for Russell Wilson.
You think about, you have to, if you're in a division, NFC West, NFC, East, wherever, South, and I go back to the time when we had a problem with Vic, and who do we take to neutralize Michael Vick? We took Thomas Davis, and they're in the Seattle's in the league with or the conference with San Francisco, with that massive defense, and their front four is going to get pressure. So the best option that you can do is get you a tight end that can get to the middle of the field and give him that option to get the ball out pretty quick. And that also takes linebackers that have to cover him. So I think it's a good pickup for him. I think it's a great spot for Greg Olsen to land, have a chance to win a championship. And it should. This next NFL season is going to be expectancy. Is that the right word? I'm going to be expecting some changes coming up. It's going to be a fun year, I think. As bad as Carolina's probably going to be, I'll enjoy watching the parody.
Do y'all extend? Do you give McCaffrey a big contract, or do you franchise tag him?
It hurts my feelings for McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey's going to get stuck in being really, really as good as he's going to be. We're going to be horrible. I hope we can fix it really quickly, or he's going to be wasted. Because I think he is a great weapon. If we don't get good really quick, I don't want to waste him.
I think that's what Dallas is doing now with Zeke.
Yeah, he could get wasted. I just don't want him to be wasted.
I
hate it for him.
As great as Zeke is, this team might always finish second to what Philadelphia is doing. And this is what's crazy too. This was I know I'm not going to try to get on Dallas rant, but this was prime time for Dallas to make a run. Because no quarterback to pay, and the Giants and both Washington, especially this past year, were down, and the Eagles were Philadelphia was completely injury riddled, and they just couldn't do it. So I think that window's closing in the NFC East fast, I think the NFC South for Carolina, what the window was essentially is closed now.